Film Club. Film Club.
Welcome back for one more round. This week, we're doing Raging Bull.
You don't get to start
So
it.
the idea of Film Club is every week we pick a film and get you to join us to watch the film, and we discuss it, see what we like about the film. My name is Andy Donaldson. He's actually the host, but I thought I'd start this week because he looks like a tart. I'm the co-host. So the main guy, laughing and did a shit impression of the intro.
I've been beating my own
Is it
game.
Andrew Harrison?
I've just been beating my own game.
Please, carry on for your intro as we do. I think I did quite well.
Yes, every single week, Film Club, we ask you guys along to join us and watch a film. We're going to discuss it this week. Don't do it.
It's not working.
Don't do it.
It's not working, it's loading.
This week, it's Raging Bull, Martin Scorsese.
Martin Scorsese, so the first.
God's sake.
That was so delayed. I was meant to do that about 5 seconds ago. So that's a Wilhelm scream. You know what we tried to do a couple of episodes ago? That's actually the Wilhelm scream. We tried to start it with that, just so you know what the Wilhelm scream is, and me going, ah!
If we get a copyright strike on the Wilhelm scream, that'll be gutted.
Why is it arrived so late? So Raging Bull, just to clarify, doesn't have a Wilhelm scream.
No.
So Andy, what are your thoughts on Raging Bull? I quite like this reverse.
Oh, God, the reverse of the thing, right? Raging Bull. I absolutely loved this.
Okay.
I think it was absolutely awesome. And I think, to be fair, right, this film probably had me from the get-go because it opens on like a 2-minute long shot.
It does, yes. Is that when he's trying to do the speech?
No. That comes after
Or is it the fight?
the really long take of him in the ring, just like I think he's got his robe on and he's like bouncing
He's like,
around.
yeah, with practice, he does that quite a lot throughout the film, doesn't he?
And it's beautiful.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
straight out, I was like, ooh, I'm interested.
I've noticed that in the film that it has quite a lot of long shots. It's one of the things I noted down. I've got a list now. And yeah, it's brilliant. One of the long shots in question was, you mentioned at the start there, that was fantastic. The lead up to the ring. You know when he's fighting Joe Pesci? And I had to, do you know what, I was watching it, because I watched half it last night and half it today. And when he was fighting Joe Pesci, and then he came to the arena, I was like, hold on a second, I'm sure that was all one shot. So I had to go back, and I was like, holy shit, it's 1980, by the way. So it's quite like old film, isn't it, really? And bloody hell.
Well, 1980, I mean, what, 1980, 1981, relatively modern filmmaking techniques were in place then.
No, but that's still pretty cool for like considering like,
awesome.
Is it like a trend at the moment? Because I was just thinking about that when I was watching it. I was thinking, well, it was all the way back there, but why is it being seen more lately? For example, Daredevil, and there's one in Luke Cage. Why is the long shots? Spectre was renowned for that long shot. Why?
I think it's a mix of two things. So like, one, you've got the fact that people can now talk about these things more readily.
Is that
So,
because the internet, like making it available, Film Club being a great example of?
Yeah, totally. So someone can like find that one long shot they really take, that one long take that they really love, and start like a forum post about it, and people start talking about it. It
That's quite
spreads.
interesting, isn't it?
But the other side is that we also have gimbals now. You have to remember.
Ah, yes.
So gimbals have made
Explain
like
a gimbal.
a gimbal's kind of like a steady cam. So it steadies the camera when you hold it,
Stabilizes.
but it does it electronically. So it makes doing these long shots. We should call them long takes, really. Doing these really long takes, it makes them way easier, and you get to worry about like the choreography a bit more. And like, there's obviously all the other tech that's out as well. Like, you can program like mechanized arms and stuff to do like camera movements again and again and again.
Yeah.
So like, there's a whole bunch of tech which helps you now.
He did a really good gimbal shot before. You're really proud of, aren't you? The bikes. It's actually brilliant.
So
how did Scorsese do those long shots? And that example, going up to the arena, because that's quite long. How did he keep his? Because if it's handicam, he's bloody straight.
I think it was on a Steadicam.
They were available back in the 80s. What's a Steadicam?
I think
Is it
it
where
was.
it's on your chest and like that?
Yeah, Steadicam. You'll see people like wearing a harness and they'll have like a spring-loaded arm that comes out in front. It's all about balancing the weight of the camera to make sure like that its center of gravity is pretty much like perpendicular to the ground, so you can move these cameras pretty quickly.
Yeah, you do, don't you?
But still, even regards to that shot's amazing. I know we're jumping quite far ahead because like that's halfway through.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
But yeah, that stood out to me. I was like, that is awesome, because it's a really, really dynamic one as well. It doesn't like hold the same frame the whole time. It like changes frame size and moves around like 3 of them.
It changes
at the
frame
end.
size?
Yeah,
I mean like the dark corridor, so it's like...
Yeah, so it starts in like a close up on him,
Yeah.
I believe, and then like at one point it lets like 2 security guards come in front. So now you've got this frame of like 2 security guards plus him like in the foreground.
Yeah.
And then like you follow him down the ring, and like it lets him walk off down one side of the ring while the camera comes off down
It
the other
does,
side
yeah,
of the
it's
ring.
brilliant that. Then it opens it up to the audience.
It's one, and then at that point, I'm not quite sure how they did it, but like at that point, the camera raises up like above the ring, so you either had to.
Do you reckon they might have had like just like a stupidly long arm, or? Yeah, unless he went in like a cherry picker.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing if he did that.
Awesome.
But then the camera like backs in, so they could have had like the behind him, like it's coming through the corridor, so the camera's walking through the corridor. But as he's going to the ring, you could imagine that doesn't have to be a wall.
Yeah.
So you could have just gone onto a cherry picker and raised up.
Yeah, but the thing with the cherry picker, you remember because that's all one take. We saw that whole room earlier as he comes out.
Wait, oh.
So anyway,
yeah.
I want to summarize it. The film is beautiful. Like it's shot in this gorgeous black and white.
Yeah.
It's lit like to perfection. There's all this stuff going on in the frame. It's absolutely gorgeous.
You know why I did film in black and white? One of the reasons why I filmed in black and white.
Was it to make it look like feel older?
No, well, I don't know. It could be one of the reasons, but one of the reasons I read upon is to lessen the amount of blood in the film, because if it's obviously in colour, there would have been, because it was a very gory film.
Oh,
like
that's brilliant.
I know, yeah, punch, and it won't be, because he saw like sometimes it's sweat, sometimes blood. You could tell it's blood, it was a bit darker. And you know what else it did as well? When the punch scenes, they actually had sponges in, so they let off sweat and stuff like that.
I think you can kind of see that at times. Like you see
really
loads of water come off and do it.
But
there's one more thing before we move on from the cinematography. There's one more thing I want to touch on. It's that montage sequence where it uses old 16mm film.
Oh, really? Did he?
Yeah, you know, like when they're...
Is it going through the fights and winning and winning and winning?
Yeah, it's going through the fights. It's him getting married and them two like being happy together. It's all shot on 16mm, and I read this wonderful, you know, to be fair, my fiance told me this wonderful little fact about it.
Go on, Natalie.
Which is, in order, like when they were shooting that, apparently the camera operators kept framing everything like too well, like too perfectly, because the camera operators, what they do. So instead, they handed it off to other people.
Really?
The cameras were handed off to like other people on the crew.
Really?
To shoot.
What, so it was like someone in the audience doing it?
So it felt more like home video.
No way. That's pretty cool.
And then Scorsese took like some I don't know what he took. He started like scratching the film himself afterwards after they developed it to give it more of like a grungy feel.
Like watch it again to get an idea. I need to watch the second half. Before we move on from cinematography, funnily enough, normally like the idea is he's the film guy. He's like loves his cinematography and I love the audio. I found myself this week. I know you've when I read your notes, I will go into them. You focused a bit more on audio, whereas I focused on the camera work. One of my first points to pick up was the camera work, the long shots, the choreography when he's in the boxing ring, superb. Like how they did that. I read something else as well. I think it was a review by Roger Ebert. Is that his name? How is that you pronounce his name?
I think is it Ebert?
Ebert. Regardless, he mentioned how Scorsese would actually like to get the boxing ring up and close and feel like kind of that claustrophobic kind of feel, and sometimes it'd feel a bit further away. But one amazing thing they did about the cameras was the use of mirrors. And there was an end scene where he's trying to deliver the speech, and he's doing it, and he's De Niro's facing the mirror, and the camera is looking at the mirror, so you see the reflection of De Niro. Superb. Like I loved that.
Have you seen what is he called? Is it Tony Zhao? Every Frame a Painting?
I've heard of it.
He did a video essay, I'm pretty sure, on Scorsese's use of mirrors.
No, but I'd actually quite like to. After seeing Raging Bull, because I've never noticed it in any others.
If anyone's interested, I highly recommend it. The channel's called Every Frame a Painting. I do apologise, I can't remember what the guy who makes it's called.
Okay.
But yeah.
But he does it a second time, and it was a really, really, like, there was a really good intimate scene with De Niro, LaMotta, and his wife, Vicky. And it's really intimate. Like you see some intimate stuff in films, but that was, to me, it was just like, holy shit, you know, like the proper, like getting into it sort of thing. And he undresses her, but you see like him undressing her from the mirror sort of thing.
Yeah.
Back and also in the mirror. And I thought it was absolutely brilliant that. So they used the mirror there.
While we're on it as well, should we talk performance? Because
go on then.
De Niro's performance it's great, but in a really understated way. And like you don't kind of think about this guy as being Robert De Niro. But it's not the sort of performance which really hits you on like some huge emotional level. Instead, he just plays this like really kind of creepy guy.
Crazy guy.
Who is a little bit obsessive, like has anger issues, wants to like control everything.
Yeah.
And these sort of things like kind of slowly unfold. Like at first, you don't think of him like that at the beginning of the film, but slowly over the course of the film, this stuff unfolds, and you just kind of you go off of him, but in a way, you're still rooting for him.
Yeah, you are, aren't you? And it's rather interesting. Funnily enough, to tell you the truth, I did struggle a bit with this film, but it annoyed me that I struggled with it because I know this is so highly regarded for Scorsese's films. But one of the few things I did know, besides the camera work as well, is the acting. And when you said there about like how you don't feel like it's De Niro, you don't feel like it's like Goodfellas or something like that. He plays such a like kind of, it's almost like a troubled character with he's got his own inner demons, and yet he expresses them, and he's his own downfall, is he not?
Yeah.
Towards the end of the film, especially. But yeah, it's like you said, you do feel yourself rooting for him. Like towards the end, you know when he's on there, he's doing stand-up comedy, and then he gets arrested. Then he's doing stand-up comedy in a really, really small, like kind of shitey place.
Yeah.
And he's just like, shit, I'm sadly still going on, but it's a shame you've gone like to that level sort of thing.
Yes, yeah.
He said, I am a bum and stuff like that when he's in the speech at the end.
Because it's not like he's now doing this comedy and he's suddenly happy.
Yeah.
He's not still.
Yeah, exactly. And which is actually towards the end, then he sees his brother. You were saying there like about acting, like before going about Joe Pesci, I'd like to just point out, what is her name? Kathy Moriarty, who played his wife Vicky. Supposedly that was one of her first roles.
All right.
Potentially a debut or something like that. I don't know if it was a debut, but it was one of her first roles. And they were saying like how Scorsese just kind of like hit go because she was superb.
Yeah.
She was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I really, really loved it. She kind of like bossed many a scene just by not saying anything, just by her facial expression alone, just by the way she was looking at De Niro, just like LaMotta, sorry, just like like not this again, fuck this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved that. Joe Pesci though,
awesome,
unbelievable, and
yep.
Oh man, and again, I heard that this was like he's like rise to stardom, so I think Joe Pesci.
Was it? I'm not sure what he did before this.
So I may have read this, but it was before he. So I'm not like this isn't my own quote. Before he got typecast as Joe Pesci, the angry guy.
Yeah.
This was such a different role. I don't want to say too much because I know you haven't seen it. He hasn't seen Goodfellas, but this is such a different Joe Pesci to Goodfellas, and the same again for De Niro. Such a different De Niro to Goodfellas. And what I loved about it, we were referencing Fargo before, and you had Steve Buscemi who was like, "Shut the fuck up" and all this.
Yeah.
And the next film. Where he's like, it's against him.
Yeah.
Well, with this, you got De Niro and Joe Pesci almost in like completely different role, but also similar, which I won't go into. For those who've seen Goodfellas will understand. Like their relationship is superb. Their on-screen presence, their chemistry, together is superb, and yet it's completely different characters to what they play in Goodfellas. And in Goodfellas, they're fantastic again, but Joe Pesci is unbelievable. Honestly, all three of them just absolutely bossed it.
Performances across the board, absolutely awesome. Like that's what I mean. Like these characters aren't like they don't do a great deal. I think that's what this film's strength really is. It's technically a boxing film. It's not about boxing.
No.
What it's actually about is
struggling with. It's
about De Niro's character, or LaMotta. It's about like the struggles that he goes through. It's about those dealing with control and rage and manipulation and all this sort of stuff. And really, like all the interplay goes on outside of the ring.
Yes,
and a lot of time in the ring, it's not like he's not going on this adventure of like win, lose. Oh no, he's losing, and now he has to like fight his way back. We often skip those periods.
True.
Where like he's getting denied the title match, and then like he's got to do some stuff to get there, and we often skip it and just go straight to okay, it's the night of the title fight. It's like that sort of stuff isn't interesting Scorsese, because instead he's telling this really, really character-driven thing.
He might have been, but there's one thing throughout the film that's a common theme is the fact that he's never been knocked down.
Yeah.
And
that little line at the end where he goes up to him and he's like...
He's never knocked me down.
Yeah. Wonderful.
But it's almost like, even when he's getting beat, because I think he has to get beat for money issues, doesn't he?
Yes, that's where he like breaks down, isn't it?
Yeah, I felt bad. Yeah, that's it. You feel bad for him, don't you?
Yeah.
You know. But even through those bits, you can see his pride.
Yeah.
And even when he's breaking down, you can see his pride and the fact he's never been punched to the floor, knocked down, stuff like that. He's still got pride throughout that. So,
yeah.
But you see a lot of his emotion in the ring. I mean, yes, you see his anger issues outside, and you see all these other factors outside, like at the end where he's trying to like get back with his brother Joe Pesci and stuff.
Yeah.
Who's called Joey. Sorry, Joey. But in the ring, you kind of see. I think I'm going back to the Roger Ebert review that I read, because I only read the one review. He's a good reviewer. It was on about how there's one fight where he's a rookie, and his wife Vicky says, "Oh, he's quite good looking."
Yeah, and he beats the shit out of him.
And some guy mentioned he's like, "Oh, he's not so good looking anymore, is he?" And like, he was saying, Roger Ebert was saying how I need to. Some of these things you miss, and you need to watch them again. It is my first time watching Raging Bull, but yeah. And he punches him, like he knocks him out, and he just looks straight to Vicky. You know, like he just goes like that and just.
Yeah, it's even the fighting stuff is about the characters and their involvement.
Yeah.
Like it's not a challenge to beat him. We don't have to like go through 20 minutes of like those two like duking it out in the ring. It's just it's over. It's done with because there's other stuff to be getting on with. There's more interesting stuff for this film to be getting on with. It's wonderful.
Do you know what's interesting as well? How even after he accused his brother of cheating, which he never truly found out, but I think that's irrelevant. I think it's more the fact that he did accuse him as opposed to actually whether he's guilty or not.
Yeah.
His brother Joey is still watching the TV, still watching his performance, so there's still a little bit of care there, despite what he says at the end.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you reckon you need to have an understanding of Jake LaMotta as a boxer, boxing, and potentially American boxing culture and sport culture to fully get this film?
To fully get it,
because like it's two things. Because you could argue that a lot of it, like you said before, it's not a boxing film at all. But is it to do with the character Jake LaMotta and his demons he's in the past? Can we relate to Jake LaMotta?
I want to say yeah, because I know I absorbed nothing about boxing.
Me either.
And I knew nothing about Jake LaMotta as well.
I'd still beat you in a boxing fight, but go on.
Should we do it here and now?
Yeah.
So you would actually. So the fact that I knew nothing about Jake LaMotta or I knew nothing about boxing and I still got this film, I think it gives you enough that you need to know.
Yeah, he does.
Like,
yeah.
You know when he's been screwed out of a match, when he actually won one fair and square. There's no like minutiae in that, really. So I think you get enough from the film. Maybe you get more out of it if you knew like Jake LaMotta and whatnot. Like
So,
I actually didn't realise at the beginning that was De Niro.
And he needed to die when he's the big guy.
Yeah.
Because how good was that back then?
It wasn't until the end where I went, oh shit, like that was him back at the beginning, and I jumped back right after I finished watching the film.
Really?
And just like playing, I was like, oh my god, that was him.
I kind of had that ruined. My dad said to me, oh, you put a few pounds on for that. So at the start, I was like, oh, who's that?
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh, De Niro put a few pounds, shit, like that. So cheers, Dad.
Did you read the thing about apparently he put so much weight on, like Scorsese was shocked, and he actually like stopped the production at one point because he's worried about his health.
Really?
Because apparently De Niro was getting out of breath doing like, relatively basic stuff.
Yeah.
So he was getting out of breath doing it. So apparently he stopped the production because he's worried about him. He's putting so much weight.
Credit to De Niro, like that's dedication, isn't it?
Yeah, and then what's his brother?
Joe Pesci?
Joe Pesci, thank you. He lost a bit of weight, like to contrast in that last scene.
Oh yeah, he did look smaller. Yeah, he did. Yeah. He had the moustache, didn't he?
So can we talk audio for a second?
Yeah.
Right? Because I didn't make a final decision on this. The score is almost absent for most of the film.
To be honest, I didn't notice any score at all. I didn't really focus too much on the audio besides a couple of things, but go on, please.
So there's bits. I mean, the stuff that stands out is like when it is that 16mm montage, there's clearly music over the top of it.
Montage needs music.
Montage needs music. But then there's some stuff where like the score comes in at times and then relatively quickly goes out. The rest of the film's like quite quiet. And even the way like the audioscape's constructed is relatively quiet. Everything like all the audio like blends back into the background. Like you've got all this background noise going on and like their voices are just raised above it. It's really, I think that's what adds that whole like the fact that it feels more real.
I must admit, when I watched it and I noticed bits about the audio, I was thinking the audio is not to modern day standard at all. But maybe that's right. Maybe it is because it's blending in the background. You feel like more
I don't think it's a standard thing. I think that's what they were trying to do.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, it was noticeable.
Look at something like what came out before Star Wars. The very first Star Wars came out before this.
Yeah.
in terms of audio, they've mixed it to like what we have as like a standard now.
Yeah.
I think Scorsese was actually trying to make it feel real and busy, and
because it did feel busy. When I listened to the audio, there's parts where I was thinking, like this. But I was thinking, this is Scorsese, you know, it's not, whether it is because it was to do with it being a 1980, I don't know, but you made a good point there with New Hope.
Did you watch a decent copy of it as well?
Yeah, 720.
No, I meant like, well, yeah, but I meant for the audio. Like, did you watch?
Right, yeah, sorry.
Did you stream it or did you have it on DVD or something?
No, I watched a DVD copy of it.
Sorry, the audience is already very familiar with your granddad burning DVDs.
True, yeah. But he just get them off TV, so he's a good man, granddad. He just he shares his so we don't have a TV license, so granddad just shares his TV with us and puts it on DVD. Anyway,
good man.
One thing I wanted to look into this film, and this is really, really off topic, but it's something I figured out at the start of the film, because it does have those title sequences in. It's set around the time of World War II, and yet it doesn't seem to affect the film in any way at all. I was looking into it in 1941, late 1941 is when the attacks, in fact, it's the, because I had to check this out when I was watching the film, the 7th of December was when the attack on Pearl Harbor, and the 8th of December, which is, in exactly a month's time, is the 75th anniversary of when America declared war, or like in World War II. So I thought I'd put that statistic on Film Club. Anyway, one day short of a month before the attacks on Pearl Harbor, regardless, anyway, it was around that time, after the second or third fight in the start of the film, that World War II was in America, and yet it didn't seem to affect him in any way at all. For example, the Great Depression after World War II, it didn't seem to be there. I mean, these people are, fair enough, when he's in the nightclubs, he's later on in a later time, but it just, everyone's still there in the arena, like, loving life, and I really enjoyed that. It was such a, like, for that time era, it was such a massive contrast to what was actually going on.
Really, really interesting. Like, I totally didn't catch that.
Yeah.
And actually, now that you say it, maybe, like, I don't know, so it's either one of two things. I guess Scorsese just overlooked it, or it's the fact that he decided to go, right, I'm going to set a film in this time period, and it's not going to dwell on World War II all the time,
hope that
like
was the case.
every film in that time period does.
Well, even though it was the Great Depression, they still would have had these events, like, stuff like boxing would have still, like, been a huge thing and a big pickup for people in that time.
If anything, more so, especially than it is now.
So I hope that was the case, but yeah, I just realised there was absolute no reference to the war at all, and I thought, I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good catch.
Well.
I'm not saying you're a good catch.
Well, yeah, that's it's interesting, isn't it? But
so
I'd say
I mean,
camera work for me, the acting in it was superb. Were the two major points that I brought out. You mentioned the one about audio. I really hope that's the case because I wasn't too keen on it.
I mean, go back and rewatch. To be honest, I think you'll find that. I don't think it was like a mistake. I don't think it was a limitation of technology. I think it was a purposeful choice.
I hope so. With regards to, you said something last week in Boyhood, and you said, would you recommend this film to anyone?
Oh, yeah.
And I found myself thinking after this film, because I did struggle with it, as mentioned, I'd really like to watch it again. Not now, because it was a quite long film, and I'm quite exhausted lately, so I was watching it last night, and I was watching it the other half today as well. It was better today than it was last night. I don't know if that's a film. Anyway, regardless, I found myself asking that after, saying, would I recommend it? And I think it's a tough one. I think you have to be in the mood for it.
I'd agree. I wouldn't recommend this to probably most people. I think if someone's casually watching for a film, like something to enjoy, this isn't it. Like instead, you would recommend them Rocky. Like that's, I guess, the best analog for it. This is a little bit slower.
It is slow. It's very slow, but in a good way.
Yeah. And all these things, like in terms of the film's artistic integrity, they're better. Like it makes it a better film.
The black and white was superb.
The fact that it's black and white, it's slow, it's quiet.
The use of blood and sweat.
It doesn't like engage with the action too much. Instead, it looks like somewhere else a lot of the time. I wouldn't recommend this to most people, but it is a superb film. To the person who like really appreciates cinema, this is exactly what you recommend them.
I would like to watch it again.
If you haven't yet watched it, I would recommend it, I assume.
I would, for the same reasons as what Andy said. Just be in the right mood. It's a slow-paced film. A lot of people out there are a bit iffing at that, about slow pace. just give it a try. At the start, I was a bit like this, but towards the end, it did. Maybe it was just me the next day and I was less tired. I don't know. But when it got to the end, I was like, that end scene was fucking superb.
Yeah.
Absolutely superb. I really enjoyed it. And the credits came and I was like, fuck yeah, that was good. But I do need to watch it again. Not now, but I do need to watch it again and just get a true appreciation of the whole film and watch it whole as well. But yeah, I'd recommend it. Just understand you're going in for a slow film and it is, would you call it artsy, really?
I wouldn't label it as like an art house film.
No.
It definitely has a strong sense of artistic integrity rather than entertainment. It's looking to be something which is a strong artistic piece in film, not entertaining.
Do you reckon it's making a statement on like kind of people's demons and stuff like that? And
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely in the way in which people handle that, I guess, situation that particular person was put in.
You haven't seen Taxi Driver, have you?
No, which actually, next week, we are going to be watching Taxi Driver. So, I would like you guys to let us know either in the comments below or you can hit us up on Twitter and let us know what you think of Taxi Driver, because next week we're going to sit down and discuss it for Film Club episode 6.
Sounds good. And I've seen it once. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it again.
Cool.
Well, that was saying something. But
I know we joked last week about Scorsese month. We're not going to do Scorsese month yet, but we should do a back-to-back.
I think Taxi Driver is a good one to do a back-to-back with this. I'm very interested, actually, in seeing how that goes.
Yeah, Scorsese is one of the ones like I've had a hole in some of his filmography, and I'm looking forward to filling some of those gaps now.
Same with Coen Brothers.
Cool. So, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Boss.